welcome everybody. This is the Razzy Podcast. Thank you guys so much for tapping on my face. I'm super excited to do this podcast. Really quick, I want to thank Vincent and Anthony for the last podcast, and I want to thank all of you for tuning in. That was super, super cool of all of you. I had a super fun time doing that, and with Arslan too. It was just kind of fun to sit down and talk about some random stuff. We usually don't get that in depth to conversations like that. We can, but usually not. So that was fun. So thank you guys for making me work on these podcasts. So this episode's going to be a little bit personal for me because I've wanted to do this for a while. I want to kind of explain like who I am, like where I started from basically, and like how I got to where I am, which is not that far, trust me. But like even like how I got in this band and just kind of my start and my story. So really quick, before I get into this, I need some water. Hold on really quick. Please don't listen to this. Okay. All right. Thank you. Anyway. Okay. So basically, this is where I'm going to start from. I started playing guitar when I was just 4 years old. For people who are first-time listeners, I'm 23 years old, from Cleveland, Ohio. And when I was 3 or 4 years old, I started playing guitar. Now, I started from my father. Now, my dad has been playing guitar for like almost 40 years now. And he's been, super, super big in my life when it comes to, teaching me how to play this dumb instrument. But, it started off a lot different than what it is now. Things started off, I've never had a particularly easy life. Nothing has really ever been, just given to me. There we go with the heater in my house, so you're gonna have to deal with that noise. Anyway, so, I've never really been the guy, like, I never got too much. My dad really instilled a lot of beliefs in myself and stuff like that growing up. And it kind of became somewhat who I am. And I kind of thought it was stupid when I was a kid, but now I kind of really realized, like, where he was coming from. So that's very important to me. But so how it started out is basically I started playing when I was 4. My dad had, like I said, been playing for a long time, and there are videos of me when I was 3 just kind of messing around. So I have a guitar right here, and I remember like I would sit the guitar on my lap, and I would just be like, da, 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 and I would just be like, hitting it like a little kid does. And then I remember my dad sat me down and was like, hey, why don't you try like playing for real? And of course I was like 4, so I was like, okay, like I wasn't like, yeah, I'm playing guitar, but it was just like kind of more of a fun thing. So I sat down, and I remember he taught me an exercise. Now the exercise is literally just 1, 2, 3, 4, which is just, and then you go backwards, all the way back. So when I was little, I did that for the first 4 years that I played guitar. I literally just did that. And this wasn't like 13 hours a day or anything crazy, but whenever I did play guitar, I literally just did that. I just practiced doom, 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 for sometimes hours. It could take, it started to get into the hours once I was like 7 or 8 years old. So through that time, I got better. I was still a kid, just normal childhood. And then when I was about 7 or 8, I started really like kind of taking it seriously. My dad taught me how to play certain scales and stuff like that. And I started learning some songs. I learned some Journey. And I remember for some reason, my dad taught me how to tap, which is using your other hand and going like. So I did that. And I like kind of learned how to do that, which is like a really advanced move. I mean, a lot of people say tapping's easy, but for a little kid, that's some difficult stuff. So, I started doing that, and I remember my dad was like, we should put you on YouTube. There's this new site. It's called YouTube. My voice cracked really bad right there. I'm still a kid, seems like. So he put this little video of me playing on YouTube, and it was called 10-Year-Old Shredding Guitar Player. And I literally just did this. It was like, Er. And I remember I did that. That was the first video we did, and I was like, whatever. I didn't know what YouTube was. I was 8, and this wasn't like back then where like, 8-year-olds now know how to work iPads and stuff. Like, it was just my life without phones and everything like that, and then just my dad on his computer, and he just, saw that YouTube came out. So he put me on YouTube, and I remember him waking me up early the next morning, like, Alex, wake up. You got 70 views last night. And I was like, what? Like, I got out of bed and went on, and I remember there were comments like, oh my gosh, you're so good. And this was like the beginning of YouTube. So technically, I was one of the first kid guitar players uploaded to YouTube. This was like within the first couple days YouTube even came out. So, and this was before like the School of Rock movie came out, and this was like before like kids playing guitar was really cool. Like, like in the Tooth Fairy, like they had the kid who wanted to play guitar. I wanted to be a guitar player, and Rock Band. This was like before all that came out. So that was just kind of weird. So I really didn't have any expectation to do anything. And I remember that video started gaining some traction, and I started posting. I learned how to do Journey and stuff like that. And then I remember there was an ad in the paper for a talent competition. There's a young drummer. His name was Julian Pavoni. At the time, he was young. He was 16 months old, and he was playing drums. And he was like good. Like, if you look him up now, he is like one of the most incredible drummers I've ever seen. And like, I love Arslan, but like we've talked about it before. Julian's been playing since he was 16 months old. The kid is literally ridiculous. Like, it is like insane how good this kid was. But anyway, back then, whatever. So this is how me and Vincent met. There was an ad in the paper for this kid was trying to like find his own band. Julian Pavoni, he was wanting to find his own band. So me and Vincent separately, we didn't know each other yet. We went to this competition, and both of us played. I remember I did like Eruption by Van Halen and just some other tapping stuff. And the dad of Julian, Julian's dad, loved me, and he loved Vincent, who actually tried out too. And Vincent's dad and my dad started kind of talking, and they found out I lived in Streetsboro, Ohio, and they lived in Parma, Ohio, and we were somewhat close by. So it's like, hey, why don't we start a band with these kids? And it wasn't even really our idea at first. So it was just me and Vincent. And I remember we went back and performed a show at the Cleveland Agora, and me and Vincent did Lights and Don't Stop Believing with Tony's dad's band. And that was that's actually on YouTube. Vincent Fondale and Alex Raz played Don't Stop Believing and Lights by Journey. And that was the first video of us playing together that you watch. And that was, thinking back to that time, I had no control. I didn't even understand anything that was really going on. All I know is that this kid was a singer, and I played guitar, and now we were playing some songs. So for the first few years that me and Vincent knew each other, we went out to Detroit, where Julian lived, pretty much every weekend for almost 3 years. And we were just playing songs. We were doing songs with Julian, and we were kind of like part of his band. And that was fun. It was cool as a kid, because as a little kid, I was always kind of told by like my dad, like, oh, you're a great guitar player. Like, he always kind of instilled this confidence in my guitar playing. And I can't thank him enough for that. But so after we did that, me and Vince, and obviously it was basically our parents were like, hey, listen, we're going to Detroit every weekend. We're doing that. Why don't we start our own band in Cleveland? So we're like, cool, sweet, that's fine. So we did that, and I remember we went out to Detroit, and Anthony had sat in a little bit in the Julian's band when we were doing that. And Anthony, I remember we were trying to figure out a name, and we were just kind of sitting around, and we're going, just like, my dad was like, Brainstorm. I heard Brainstorm was a good, this is like weird stuff. And then Anthony's like, what about Recess? And everybody kind of like looked around, and we were just like quiet, looked around, and we were like, that's pretty good. Recess, that's really good. So we started going under that name, and from there that was how it started. So Anthony the Fondales, they knew a guy in Tony's band. His daughter joined the band as a bass player. And we were recessed for a couple years until over time there was some things that happened with the Fondales and Julian's dad, and it was a little bit weird. I don't know. I'm not gonna like go too far into it, but they stopped doing stuff together. They kind of like, we just kind of started doing recess. My dad kept in touch with Julian's dad though, and I remember Julian's dad was like, "Hey, there's America's Got Talent wants to put the kids on the show. Steve, do you want your son Alex to do it with us?" Like we have this other singer, Alicia, and Alicia's actually Alicia Michelli. Shout out to her. She has some really good music out now. She was on America's Got Talent. Now she did really good, got really far. But so he's like, "Steve, would you want to do this?" So my dad's like, "Yeah, I'll do whatever." And I didn't have a control back then, so I was like, "Okay." So I did that, and I remember our parents got in an argument because I was going to do this other thing, and at the time I didn't want to leave recess. It was nothing like that, but our parents just got in this argument, and I remember, I'll never forget, Vincent was sitting on the couch and he goes, "No, I'll never get to achieve my dreams," and he like ran into his bedroom. And I remember I was like sad. I didn't want to leave recess at the time, but whatever. So I left the band for a couple years, and America's Got Talent we never did anything with that, and it was just kind of a dead end for a while. And over time, Julian just kind of started doing his own thing, and that's just kind of how that happened. And I met some people in Cleveland who were, I don't know where they saw me at, but for a while I did the Alex Raz Band, which is, it was me. The drummer of Recess originally, his name was Joey Sampson, and he was from Chagrin, Ohio. He had contacted, my dad was cool with, my dad basically just wanted to get me out there and do as much as he can to get me. So he stayed in good touch with anybody who was a contact. So he was like, "Hey, Alex isn't in recess anymore. Let's start our own project." And we ended up naming it the Alex Raz Band. I don't know why. And there's a girl named Megan, who was our bass player. It was just me, Joey, the original drummer of Recess, and this Megan girl. And we just did a couple songs. I wrote a few songs that I sang on, and I don't know if they're available on YouTube. Like, you could like look them up. One of them's called November 14th. The one was called Go Your Own Way. I was like, "Go your own way, baby." It was just like when I first started singing, so I was even worse than I am now. But we just did a couple songs, and then after a couple years, we found this band Velocity. It became Velocity. Started talking to this guy named Skip, and his kid was a drummer. The Alex Raz Band kind of came to a dead end, and I did that for a while, and we did basically like progressive rock and stuff like that, like Dream Theater. So after doing all of that for a couple years, I remember we did a Battle of the Bands at the House of Blues. We actually got into the finals round. We lost in the finals, but we got into the finals round, and that was super fun. Just doing something different. And during all this time that I'm doing this, this band stuff, I played the national anthem at a Cavs game, a Cleveland Cavaliers game, an Indians game was a little bit later. So I was doing some stuff on YouTube and, really getting a lot of views. Now, going back a little bit, when me and Vincent first started Recess, we got a video on Yahoo Video, and this isn't around now, but Yahoo Video had 700,000 views on our video. Okay, it started off, my dad recorded a video of us at the mall. It's still on YouTube. And he recorded it, and I remember Tony, Anthony and Vince's dad, was like, "Steve, do not put that video online. Don't put that." Like, he just kept saying, "Don't do it." And my dad, being stubborn, like he is, he put it on YouTube and Yahoo. And on YouTube, it ended up getting over 100,000 views, and on Yahoo, it had 700,000 views in one night. And Tony was like, "Holy shit!" Like, we were just like, "This is fucking incredible." So that's kind of how we got shows in Cleveland. So originally, I had to go back and kind of explain that. There's a lot of stuff I missed. So anyway, now going forward, I was with Velocity, and my dad got an email from Tracy Fondale, Anthony and Vince's mom, and she sent a message like, hey, I think it would be really good to get the kids back together to do a video, like a recess reunion video. So, and I remember hearing about that, and I'm like, yes, I want to do that. That'd be really cool. So I went and did it because I never wanted to leave recess. So I went back to their house. They had now moved to North Royalton, Ohio, and we said hello, and it was really kind of awkward. We were like, what's up? Like, we haven't seen each other in so long, and I think we did, like, Stone in Love or something by Journey. Like, we did, like, some Journey song in the basement. We took a video and posted it or whatever, but after that, it really became kind of, I was just hoping they'd ask me back in the band. I always was like, please, I want to come back. So, and they did. They were like, hey, our guitar player is not really into this. He wants to do his own thing. So, how'd you like it to come back in the band? And I was like, yes. I dropped everything. And I love the guys at Velocity. Still to this day, they're super cool. I love them. But they let me go back to recess. And thankfully, I mean, I would have went anyway, but I'm super glad there was nothing, bad that happened, or there was no arguments or anything like that. They're super cool. So I went back, and from there we really started kind of starting to get our shit together. So the lineup was me, Anthony, Vince, Arslan, and Shane Paul. Shane Paul was our old bass player, and that was when I was 16. I came back into the band, or 17. So it's been another 7 years since, 6 years, almost 7. Since that time. So for a couple years, Shane was in the band, and we, did our own thing. And then Anthony and Vince, during this time, they really started to create their music. They really started to learn how to write properly and really, like, write some really at least decent songs during this time. So we started kind of going more towards, like, a pop approach. Now, at this time, we were playing songs in Cleveland, just random shows, festivals, fairs, and stuff like that, and doing, like, classic rock songs, and we did some pop songs like Katy Perry and stuff like that. And over time, Shane kind of just wasn't really, it wasn't the direction of the band that he wanted. So Shane ended up leaving the band, and that was fine. We all still got along and everything like that. So we decided just to kind of go without a bass player. We just sequence our bass, which is the bass is sequenced live. So we just it's just a track. But we, record all our basses in the studio and stuff like that. Either I'll do it, Arslan will do it, or our sound engineer does it. So we basically just full steam ahead started writing, and we had a previous EP we won't talk about. It's not out anymore. That it was 4 or 5 songs that was just, they weren't that good. And then basically we just grew during this time. We really started to, write better, and this is where the first song I remember them writing that I was like, wow, this is super good, was Is It Fate? That was like one of the songs. Now, it was a lot different back then, but it was, that was one of the first songs I was like, we could really do something. And then I remember they wrote Waitin', and we did all these songs, and then we had our first EP. So when we came out with that, nothing really happened. We kind of, just played around for a couple more years, wrote more music, and this time Anthony and Vince wrote Leaving Home and When the Sky Comes and songs like that for the second EP. And then we actually went back when we were recording the second EP, we re-recorded the first EP. We remixed it, remastered it, and that's the one that's on Apple Music and iTunes and Spotify now. That's the remixes of it. You might be able to find the old versions. Not that you would want to look; they don't sound good. It's not like the 1975 old songs where, like, they sound kind of cool. Like these were just, the mixes weren't good. It might be cool. I don't know. Try to find it. You're probably not gonna find it. But anyway, so that's when we came out with the second EP, and all the way up to now, we did Edgewater in 2019, and we did all that stuff, and that was super fun. And we started writing the third EP, and that's really where we're at right now. And that's basically the whole story of how we got to where I am. And looking back, I started off listening to bands like, Journey and, rock bands. And I still appreciate a lot of that music now. And I just like good music. That's just how I am. It doesn't matter what genre, what artist. If it's good, I'm going to listen to it. So that's really kind of how I got my music start. So really quick before we move forward with the podcast, I'm going to go ahead and take a quick pause for a word from our sponsor. Alrighty, we're back on the Razzy Podcast. Thanks for that. All right, so the second little bit of my podcast, I'm going to kind of talk about hold on 1 second. I gotta get my water. My throat is very dry still. It's very dry. Hold on, let me turn this up. Okay. H2O. All right. Okay. So the second bit of my podcast is going to be about what music, what things turn me on when it comes to just my dreams and music. And this is a part where I really want to get serious because I really like going through school. I didn't have the easiest time. People made fun of me. I was very quiet. I didn't have many friends, but I went through a long period of time where I was very depressed. And I still deal with stuff, today. Nothing like it used to be, I don't think. But, I still go through hard times. I'm not complaining. Everybody has their struggles. But, it was very hard for me because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. It seems like I've always wanted to do music. But there was times where I wanted to do sports, and I just kind of lost my path. And I remember during all this time, trying to, make some sort of impact on the world, wanting to make an impact on the world. And it didn't really do it for me. It didn't really motivate me until I saw one specific video. There's a video, it's called Sky Full of Stars Live 2014. At BBC Music Awards. Coldplay played there. And I remember watching the video, and there's a part where it goes, "In a sky full of stars, I think I saw you." And it does the breakdown. And I remember he goes, "Let's go." And everybody in the crowd was jumping, and they all had Zylobands, so there were lights just all over the arena. And I remember getting chills and sitting up in my bed. And I was like, that's what I want to do. That's it. That's it. That's what I'm going to do in my life. That's exactly what I want to do. So I've never looked back from there. And this was just 3 or 4 years ago that happened. I kind of wanted to, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a basketball player or something and, do guitar on the side like that. That's what I wanted to do. And then I saw that and everything changed for me. And I saw Coldplay live, and that's one of the reasons they're my favorite band, is because they really started this for me, So, yeah, that's, and I haven't looked back. So when I see videos of them playing and there's 100,000 people singing Viva La Vida together, that's what makes me do what I do. That's what makes me, pushes me, because I just see what impact music can have on people. And, Viva La Vida live, just seeing people in tears, crying because they're with 99,999 other people screaming something in unison. And it's like a family. And I really think music is a huge getaway for so many people. And it's so important, which is part of the reason that I'm so crazy about, our music and, making people feel like they can go to us when they need that getaway, So that's it's just really important to me. So that's part of it. And then another thing too is that, you know, I didn't know about like the 1975 yet and stuff. But when I saw them, you know, I kind of, that's where I kind of got this thing where like I want to be a big band, but I also want to have an image like that. You know what I mean? Like I want to have, like I want people to, you know, have this, just be emotionally attached to us, and not in an arrogant way or anything like that, but in a good way. Like I want people to have that emotional getaway. I really just do. And I'm super happy that there's so many amazing people here that are, you know, with this band, and you guys really help me, you know, stay on track, and you know, and new listeners are so important, because, you know, it's a first impression, especially of a band, is really, it means a lot. You know, if somebody says, "Hey Alex, I'm gonna go listen to your music. I heard you're in a band. Like I'm gonna check you guys out." Like that means literally so much to me. It's so hard now in the industry to get plays. You know, a lot of artists fake their streams. It's, you know, even up to like Ariana Grande and Justin Bieber, like they buy, not fake, I'm not going to say fake, but they buy streams, you know, and that's not just them two. I'm saying like tons of people do it. And one thing that we really wanted to do is we wanted to keep this, no matter how bad it looks, we want to keep a genuine statistics. We want to keep all of this genuine. And like there was a time just a couple months ago where we had 300 listeners on Spotify. 300. And that's like, it's not a lot, but I'm okay with that, because 300 people, for me, for us, we don't think of it like other people do. Like 300 isn't that much. 300 it's insane that 300 people like listen to us like that, you know? Like it's just incredible. But we're actually up to 495 now. So more people have been listening. So I'm really thankful for all of you guys who are listening to us like that. So that's, you know, that's really like my goal is to, I like my biggest goal is to be the biggest band on planet Earth, and not the biggest band like the richest, or, you know, like I don't care if I'm in the top 10 list. I just want to be the biggest band in terms of people that respect us. I want respect from people, and I want to earn people's respect. Let me say it that way. I don't want to cut corners. I want to be genuine. I want our music to mean something, and I want people to really get something out of it, 100%. And so like now when I, you know, play shows live, like if you saw, I think I deleted it, but there was a post I posted of our Edgewater, Cleveland, the crowd size, like that was incredible. And though they weren't even, most of the people there weren't our fans. Those are just random people standing around. But our fans that were up in the front singing the entire time, that's what made that show what it is. And I can only imagine if everybody else knew the words in that crowd and were singing along. Like, I would definitely be in tears. Like, I'm already emotional, like, talking about this stuff. But, like, I mean, and when I watch, like, Coldplay or the 1975, like, 1, 2, fucking jump. You know, I get emotional watching people live out their dreams. And especially that's my dream. So there's times when, you know, I get jealous. You know, if I see an artist that is smaller than us doing more things, you know, sometimes, but I have to realize, like, our time will come, and it's going to be it's going to be special. And I just know it. I feel it. That's just how I just believe in myself that way. And I believe in I just believe in our direction, and I believe in everybody in this band. And I really feel like we can be that getaway, and we can do this. I really believe it. And if that means every day interacting with our fans and talking with people and answering questions and doing everything that I have to do to make us as likable as possible, I'm going to do that. And I'm not going to do it in an ungenuine way. I'm going to do it from the bottom of my heart, and I'm going to make make it count. I'm really going to, I'm going to give my all. So, anyway, I'm going to kind of wind down the podcast now, but I'm going to check on Instagram and see if there were any questions that people gave me. No, zero people asked questions. So I'm not going to answer any questions. So that's really depressing. It's really depressing. Nobody asked any questions? Nobody. Wow. Okay. Well, anyway, that might be it for the Razzy Pod. That might be it. I don't know if there's anything to talk about. You know what I will do, though? Before I go, I'm going to play something. All right, I'm going to do this. Don't tell anybody I did this. I'm going to do one verse of this on the way out. And be my mistake, and turn out the lights. She bought me those jeans, the ones you like. So don't wait outside my hotel room. Just wait till I give you a sign, 'cause I get lonesome sometimes. Save all the jokes you're gonna make while I see how much drink I can take. And mistake. Thank you for listening to the Razzy Podcast. I love you guys. I'll see you next time. But it's like we're leaving home. Thank you for listening to the Razzy Podcast today. You can follow us at Recess Official on Twitter and Instagram, and follow me on Instagram and Twitter at ALEXRVZZY. You could stream Recess on the This Is Recess playlist on Spotify, as well as the Recess Essentials playlist on Apple Music. Both of those playlists are made by Razzy. Love and be kind to each other. Have a great day and a great life. Dream big. Thank you for listening. It's like